Today we're going to talk about counting calories and how it actually puts you in control. Now that you've been keeping track of what you're eating, you should have a better understanding of many foods and how many calories are in them. Many of them may have surprised you as far as what was in them. And this is only the beginning. In my years of experience, I have seen this single skill of counting calories resulting in immense success for permanent weight loss. But remember, be patient with yourself. This really is a skill and it takes some work to learn it. Take a look at your favorites and begin to learn the healthy alternatives. You should be getting better on estimating portions. You probably find yourself looking up less and less. That's great. Now never think of this as deprivation. Counting calories in combination with portion control is power. Only you have the power to take control. The food industry is constantly trying to take this power from the public. Don't be their victim. Supersize, mega meal, drinks the size of a bucket. Portions have skyrocketed in the last 10 to 20 years. According to one study, most marketplace portions can be 2 to 8 times larger than standard portion sizes. Let's take a little time to look at some standard portion sizes. We talked a little bit before on how to estimate things. Well, we looked at this before. That's about 1 cup of cereal. This would be an actual portion of this type of cereal. If you were to take a look at something like granola, only a half a cup to a quarter cup would equal 1 cup portion such as this. When it comes to breads, 1 portion of bread is this right in here, just 1 slice. And you have to take a look at those slices as well when you're looking at the calorie counts on the labels to see what those actually add up to. You usually don't have to be concerned too much about measuring out fruits and vegetables because they're fairly low in calories, about 25 calories for an entire cup. Now, part of learning how to eat better is training your mind to recognize more realistic portion sizes. Take some time, look at the labels, look at your calorie counts, and measure out your favorite foods so you have the power. Don't worry, you'll get better with practice. Remember, this does not mean that you have to give up everything. In fact, as you get better at it, you'll be able to make many of your favorite foods work for you. You also see how the low-calorie, healthy stuff becomes fun to eat. And don't be boring. Some people take this calorie counting thing as a reason to limit themselves to specific foods and make their diets very boring. Don't do this. Ultimately, this can result in failure. In fact, many of the fad diets make out certain foods or food groups to be the villain. You eat less at first, maybe even lose some weight. Ultimately, it's human nature to get bored of the same thing over and over. And when you can't stand it any longer, you stop and go back to your old ways and gain it back. Think back to some of your diet failures. Does this sound familiar? The key is variety, embracing the healthy foods and being creative. And if you go into the unhealthy foods, make sure you make up for it with the other foods that you eat during the day. Get excited and take this challenge. By the way, if you think of exciting healthy combinations, you better share them. Now, what about combination foods? How do you add up the calories for those? One simple way, if you're actually making it yourself, is you can take the recipe. If you know you made it 6 servings and you're eating about 1/6 of that, evaluate the half a cup of cheese, take into account the milk that you put into that, the protein, about how much you put in there, if it was 1 cup, or if you're putting some vegetables in there, kind of add these calories up and then split them into the values. For example, if you made a turkey lasagna, you used cheese, you used some whole grain noodles, you used some ground turkey, some zucchini in there, some spinach. Take all of those, add them up, and then divide it. If you're dividing it into 8 portions, calculate how many calories are in those. That might take a little while. The other way that you can do it is if you actually use that calorie Bible that you have, you can take a look at some of the combination foods, and it will actually list those, especially if you're going to a restaurant. It'll usually list them by the restaurant. And make labels your friends. Take a look at that serving size. Pay close attention to serving size and the number of servings per container. All labels list total nutrients and calories in a single serving size. However, they can divide them into whatever size they deem appropriate as a serving. And you know what? To me, a quarter cup of cereal is not a serving. And remember, all calories are not created equal. Calories come from fat, 9 calories per gram, protein, 4 calories per gram, and carbohydrate, 4 calories per gram. Less calories does not mean more nutrition. Let's take examples here. Fat-free brownie compared to whole grain toast with peanut butter. Which is the better choice? Of course, the whole grain toast has whole grains in it. It's going to have fiber in it for us and protein as well. The fat-free brownie, usually to keep it fat-free, they're going to make it with a bunch of chemicals and sugar to make it taste the way you want it to. So guess what? The better choice would be the whole grain toast with the peanut butter. You can also use labels to look for the dangers. Serving size, the number of servings, how many calories are in that. Percentage of calories from fat should be less than 25% overall. Saturated fat in grams should be 0. Cholesterol in milligrams should be less than 300 milligrams per day. Sodium in milligrams, less than 2,300 milligrams or less per day. So if you're taking something in that has 800 milligrams of sodium, you better make up for it throughout the day. Hydrogenated fat or trans fats should be 0. Unrecognizable or unwanted ingredients, stay away from them. If you don't understand what it is, don't eat it. Vitamins and minerals, the more the better. And fiber, remember, we'd like to see more than 3 milligrams. Look at the nutrition facts on that label. Choose the one with more good stuff. Vitamins and minerals. Look for how much of the recommended daily allowance there is. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the recommended daily allowance, but at least it's a place to start. Fiber should be more than 4 grams per serving if it is a carbohydrate. Protein should try to stay away from soy if you possibly can, and stay with those whole sources. Each meal should be about 300 calories with about 300 to 400 calorie snacks if you're at about that 1,200 to 1,400 calorie level. So at this point, are you confused? Well, here's a tip. Many whole foods like raw fruits and vegetables don't need a label. If you're in doubt, go in that direction. Go higher on the vegetables and lower in the fruits by about a 4-to-1 ratio or minimum. So lots of these veggies. Get them in there with every single meal. And take a look at the non-starchy vegetable list. These are a gold mine of nutrition and flavor. Starchy vegetables are okay too in small amounts. The starchy vegetables, again, would be the potatoes. Like right here, actually I have some sweet potatoes. You can actually cook these up to make yourself some baked fries, but they would be on the sweeter side. And they have a little bit lower glycemic index than those white potatoes. And they have a little bit more nutrients in them as well. Some other examples of some good non-starchy vegetables would be things like your spinach. These are great sources here. And these are just some greens that you can use as well. I choose the organic mixes so that it's nice and easy for me to grab them. Makes it simple to grab. And if you're looking for getting a little bit of color into your diet, these peppers help too. These are a great vegetable to put into your diet and add some color and flavor to your foods. And if it is a meat, you want to pick the one that is free-range, raised without antibiotics, grass-fed, organic, or lowest in fat if possible. For instance, chicken without skin, fish, turkey. Remember, this doesn't contribute to weight loss, but it's healthier and tastes better too. If you're going for a healthy grain source, you want to go with sources that have the most fiber and the fewest chemicals. So just take a look at that label. Remember, you want to recognize what's on there. There are a few things that you can do to make the recipes that you enjoy healthier. For instance, if you're actually frying something, you want to change it to broiling, grilling, baking, poaching, or steaming. If you're using lard or shortening, please change to safflower oil or olive oil. If you're using white rice, go to the brown rice. This is the good stuff. Brown rice actually has the whole grain connected to it still. It's a great source of a healthy carbohydrate. If you're using cream sauces, stay away from them. Just add different spices instead. That'll make it a lot more exciting for you and add the flavor too. And spices aren't a problem as far as calories. Canned fruits and vegetables, try to stay away from those and try to go to those fresh fruits or frozen veggies are okay too. If you must use margarine and butter, you can use something such as Earth Balance Spread is okay, but even better, just stay away from it and don't put any butter on it. If you're using sugar, try to use honey, dehydrated cane juice, or agave nectar as a sweetener instead and stay away from the sugar. And definitely don't go for the artificial sweeteners. Please avoid those. Those are really just a bad thing for you. Stevia is an option to the artificial sweetener to change over to. If you're eating white flour and enriched products, try to go for the whole grain products. Watch that label. Look for those whole grains. Congratulations. You are one step closer to your goal. Take some time to make your calories count and have some fun with healthy foods. Enjoy your newfound power of calorie counting.